This is Pulse of Africa, the face of Ethiopia, the voice of Africa.
Hello viewers, you're watching Pulse of Africa. I'm Jalani Tesfaye for the main news. First, our top stories for today. Morocco and Ethiopia sign military cooperation agreement. Africa must unite to tackle energy crisis, says South African minister. India and Canada reset diplomatic relations. Now, the news in detail. Morocco and Ethiopia have signed this Tuesday in Rabat a military cooperation agreement covering staff training, joint exercises, scientific research, and military health. The agreement was initialed by Morocco's minister in charge of the National Defense Administration, Abdelatif Loudi, and Ethiopia's defense minister Aisha Mohammed, who's on a working visit to the kingdom. The deal includes forming a joint military commission to strengthen bilateral ties and support African security and stability. During the meeting, the two sides reviewed various aspects of bilateral cooperation and ways of further strengthening it in areas of common interest. They also underlined the positive and constructive role of both countries in maintaining stability, security, and peace on the African continent, the statement said. South Africa's Minister of Electricity and Energy, Kgontshego Ramokgopa, has called for urgent continental unity to confront Africa's deepening energy crisis. Speaking at the Africa Energy Forum in Cape Town, South Africa's Minister of Electricity and Energy, Dr. Kgontshego Ramokgopa, stressed the urgent need for African unity in solving the continent's energy challenges. Ramokgopa emphasized that Africa must develop its own inclusive energy transition tailored to its socio-economic realities. He called for solutions that support industrialization, job creation, and food and energy security, aligning with the Sustainable Development Goals. Lerato Mataboge, African Union Commissioner for Infrastructure and Energy, reinforced the urgency of the crisis. 600 million Africans are currently left without access to electricity, she said, warning that at the current pace of development, 570 million people will still be without access to electricity by 2030. Mali began construction of a new Russia-backed gold refinery on Monday, which the West African country's military leader said would take it closer to asserting control over its natural resources. The 200-ton capacity facility, in which Mali has a controlling stake, will be built in partnership with Russia's Yadran Group and a Swiss investment company. Mali's interim president, Colonel Assimi Goïta, said last year that all mining companies will be required to process their gold domestically under a revised mining code without providing a deadline. That reflects a broader regional shift extending across the Sahel, where Guinea, Niger, and Burkina Faso have also revised mining codes to mandate local processing, adding value to their exports and boosting the economic benefits of their resources. The International Monetary Fund has approved a disbursement of $13.7 million to Seychelles under the Extended Credit Facility and the Resilience and Sustainability Facility. The announcement followed the fourth review of the three-year agreement endorsed by the IMF on May 31, 2023. The disbursement aims to support macroeconomic stability, promote growth, and strengthen Seychelles' fiscal and monetary policy frameworks. It will also help boost climate resilience, attract climate-related investments, and leverage other sources of official financing. This brings total disbursements under the current program to $41.7 million through the ECF and $18.8 million via the RSF out of a combined package of $102 million. The program projects a 3.2% GDP growth rate for 2025. In other news, Australia and the European Union have agreed to begin negotiations on a security and defense partnership. The agreement came during a meeting between Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, and European Council President Antonio Costa on the sidelines of the G7 summit in Canada. Australia is deepening our trade, security, and defense ties with the EU. Today, we have agreed to negotiate a security and defense partnership. This will be a framework for our current and growing collaboration in areas like defense industry, cyber, and counterterrorism, Albanese said on X. and we're resuming negotiations for a free trade agreement, which will mean more jobs in Australia and Europe, he added. India and Canada signaled a reset of relations on Tuesday, agreeing to re-establish high commissions in each other's capitals after nearly 2 years of tensions. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Canadian counterpart Mark Carney announced the move after meeting on the sidelines of the G7 summit in the Canadian Rockies. Ottawa and New Delhi agreed to designate new high commissioners with a view to returning to regular services to citizens and business in both countries, according to a statement from Carney's office following their meeting.
Of resurgent Ethiopia and burgeoning Africa is here, only on the Pulse of Africa channel, all the time. Pulse of Africa, the face of Ethiopia, the voice of Africa.
Now to business news. The credit rating agency Fitch Ratings has upgraded Ghana's long-term foreign currency issuer default rating to B-, up from restricted default, according to a release. The agency also upgraded the country's outlook to stable, pointing to growing investor confidence in the economy of the cocoa, gold, and crude oil exporter. According to the release issued late Monday, the upgrade reflects Fitch's assessments that Ghana has normalized relations with a significant majority of external commercial creditors. We expect Ghana to fully complete its external debt restructuring by the end of 2025, Fitch said. Bond investors fleeing the United States are finding a haven in stable and lucrative Asian debt markets, with Malaysia leading the pack as the destination for foreign money. Foreign ownership of government bonds from Indonesia to India is soaring, becoming a tailwind for markets that have traditionally been dominated by domestic players. We're in a very good environment for Asian investment, said David Chow, Global Market Strategies for Asia Pacific at Invesco. The ingredients are in place for Asia, for emerging markets to outperform. Malaysian bonds recorded their biggest monthly foreign inflows since 2014 last month, around $3.15 billion. India and Indonesia also got significant inflows. Before concluding, let us provide you with the latest updates on global commodities prices. Now to weather updates. That is all for today, and thanks for watching Pulse of Africa.
This is Pulse of Africa. The face of Ethiopia, the voice of Africa.